Just to warn you, I never know which way my mind's going, people. So this sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's not. Just sort of, I'm going to do the land acknowledgement part first. Let's get rid of this little white thingy here. I tried something yesterday, and I think I'm going to try it again today, if you don't mind. My name is Debbie Lovelace. And my spirit name is Blue Sky Woman, because I like everybody to be happy. And yeah, so I go to Manitoulin Island, not as much as I used to. But this is what I see when I go to the islands. I hadn't been there for about 10 years, and people kept saying, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And then after that time span, I drove down there and went, this is pretty cool. But after I left the metropolis of Espanola, I see, the buildings that are gray with a combination of fallout from the mill and from the big stacks in Sudbury that sometimes turns the whole town yellow. And I leave behind the smell of a paper mill town. If anybody knows what that smell is, you never forget it. And I'm driving down the highway similar to the one that I was on the other day by Chaplow. It's lined with various trees, pine trees. I'm not good at trees, birch trees, spotted white with birch trees. And right now all the blossoms are coming out. So everything looks new and vibrant and exciting. And with the odd trees that hadn't made it through the winter. So they're laying on the ground, going back to Mother Earth so that it can nurture the new trees and the trees that are there already. As well as the slash areas where humans, for all of our good intentions, have been cutting down big patches of the trees. And as I go through the trees, again, on Ontario roads, it's a patchy highway. I keep passing these lakes. The lakes are surrounded by rocks because we are in the Canadian Shield. So most of you will know, I'm not talking about little rocks that you would paint and put on your front lawn. They are huge rocks, almost mountains and islands. And there's sheer faced rock cut rocks. But most of the water is lined with these rocks and trees covered with various colors of moss and vegetation and little flowers trying to peek their head through. And that's what I see as I drive all the way through that twisty road. The best way to describe the Espanola Corridor is they let a snake go and they followed it through, and that's how they made the road, because it's just continuously twisting. And after about 40 minutes, depending how fast I could drive, I get to the bridge. The bridge is a swing bridge. If you don't know what that is, a swing bridge does not swing back and forth like this. A swing bridge pivots. So they should call it a pivot bridge. But what I noticed after not being there for like 10 years was once I crossed that bridge, I could feel my shoulders relax. And it felt like the weight of the world had been lifted. A calm came over me. And it was like, oh, I'm home and it's relaxed, and nothing had changed since I was there the time before. The ice cream parlor was still in the same place. The beer store was still in the same place. The hospital, everything, nothing changed. So, and that also makes me think of like Mother Earth. Like, she doesn't change a lot of things, but at the same time, she is continuously changing things. as the season goes, like today, some places it's raining hard. Here it's just raining enough to be annoying. But it's cold and rainy, but that's what Mother Earth needs to replenish herself. Like I got replenished when I crossed the bridge. Excuse me. So that the trees can grow good and the animals have the food, the vegetation and the food that they need to eat. Often driving that highway in the winter, I'll see deer walking on the highway, but walking on the ice. Once we've seen a wolf chasing a deer. Unfortunately, he caught the deer, but that's the cycle of life, I guess. So that's how Mother, the grandmothers and the grandfathers, that's what they have taught us, and they show us that there is the cycle of life, and Mother Earth is part of that. And so the trees grow up and the trees die. She nurtures things in the oddest places. She can make a tree grow on a rock face that you would never think anything could grow there. So we ask the Creator, and we thank the Creator for this land that He left the children, put in the care of the children, and the grandmothers and grandfathers who have taught us over the generations how to care for it. And it shows how resilient Mother Earth can be. And with our help and persistence and the guidance of the grandmothers and grandfathers, we can restore Mother Earth back almost, if not totally, to all she was before, and take a little bit of the footprint that humans have put on her away. Miigwech, miigwech, miigwech.
Miigwech, Debbie. Thank you so much. And let me see here. Before we see, I had spotlighted you. How do I take that off? Oh, there we go. Before we go back to you, Debbie, to start us through our presentation, there were just a couple of housekeeping pieces I wanted to go over. And the first one being, I wanted to acknowledge all of you for joining us here. It's such a wonderful turnout, up to 39 people here. So that's really great that we have so much interest from our network members to come and hear our annual review presentation. And the second was to acknowledge the folks who are here sort of in official capacity, representing Public Health Agency of Canada. I understand Alana Paul is listening in. I don't know if she's able to unmute and say a few words or not, but if you are, Alana, and you want to say something, you're very welcome. And we also have Tim Edis here as a representative. Hi, Tim. You're welcome to say hello if you like. I guess I put you on the spot to say hello there.
Oh, no, that's fine. Hi, everybody. Great to see you. And Debbie, I loved your story about driving up north. I've actually driven to Chapleau, that whole into Timmins and what have you. And there's some beautiful nature, like trees. And like you said, you get those pop-up lakes and the Canadian Shield, the rocks, and all that is an amazing area of the world. Happy to be here. And I don't know if Alana's able to speak. I guess she will. And if not, I'll try my best to answer questions. And it's great to see like so many of you that I know or have seen before. Great to see everybody.
Excellent. And if Alana's not able to unmute now, we can check in afterwards as well to see if she wants to say a few words. One last thing before we kind of move into our actual presentation is I just wanted to share with you the a little interactive map, and I see many of you already made use of the link that I emailed out and have joined us there. And so I'm just going to briefly go over this. And if you didn't receive the link to be able to join us there and to do introduce yourself virtually, I'll put it in the chat. But this here is what I'm referring to. It's an interactive online whiteboard space on a program called Mural. And ways that you can participate are to find this map of Ontario and add a sticky note with your name and maybe place it on the map and show us where you're joining from. I will zoom in because you have to learn how to zoom in and out because the writing is very tiny. So if you have a wheel on your mouse, it helps you zoom in and out. And also, if you can see here at the bottom right, there's a little map and a zoom function here that allows you to go in and out. So we can see that Rachel Peltier from Timmins has put herself on the map here. Thank you, Rachel. And I think a couple of other people down here, Nicola Lyle. Nicola, it's great to see you both on screen and here on the map. So you're welcome to add your name. And you can either grab a sticky note from over here and pull it over. You can grab it and make it bigger. As you can see, Erin has done. She's typing her name right now and then place it on the map. Or another tip, if you simply double click anywhere, double click, a sticky note magically appears that you can use and move anywhere. So feel free to play around with that. The other thing I wanted to point out is that we have a bit of a poll here at the bottom right. Tell us your role by moving one of the star icons to a sticky note. So myself, I would grab a star if I was a frontline worker and I would put it here, or if I was more in admin and management and put it here. So we invite you to do that. And if you do have any comments or questions, you're welcome to come over here to this section and type a question on a sticky note. Again, you can make them bigger if you need more room, and you can add another one just by double clicking. So that was a really quick overview of the mural board. And like I say, I'll put the link in the chat if you haven't been able to, if you didn't receive it in an email. And you're welcome to join us there and tell us a little bit about yourself. Okay, I think that's enough of that kind of thing. Let me now get our presentation going. Pardon me, and I'll hand things back to Debbie Lovelace to kick things off. Let me just.
Thank you, Sydney. The Ontario Network of Capsi and Cpnp projects is a virtual network connecting 160 plus Capsi and Cpnp projects across Ontario. The role of the networks is to connect, inform, engage, and respond to support projects in improving the health and well-being of vulnerable children 0 to 6, their families, and communities. This role involves balancing 3 important facets. 1, supporting network learning and development in a virtual environment. 2, strategy implementation to improve the health and well-being of young children. And 3, fostering collaboration among network members and stakeholders. Did you catch up to me?
I've been all over the place. I'm sorry, Debbie. You let me know when you're ready to move on. Am I on the right slide for you?
Oh, we're good. The network of the work of the network is guided by the coordinating committee, composed of representatives from various Capsi and Cpnp projects across the province in 5 graphic areas. Yes, we're everywhere. Southwest, Central, Eastern, northeast, and northwest. Do. Huh. Am I on the right page? Theory of 2020 to 2024, the network work plan. As you can, Sydney, can you change that to the network work plan? There we go. Yeah, I know it's it looks cool. But it will show it up in writing what the little quadrants say. In 2020 and 2024, the network work plan, and 2021-22 is a 2-year of a 4-year work plan cycle. The coordinating committees initiated this 4-year work plan based on 4 major objectives. Objective number 1, to support increased network members' understanding of the engagement with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada's call to action, increasing network members' awareness of healthy inequity experiences by Indigenous populations and understanding of helpful and culturally appropriate ways to respond. Objective 2. Capsi and CPN project staff have increased access to information about the latest practice trends, tools, and resources as they need to provide and evaluate quality services to vulnerable families in Ontario. Number 3, Capsi CPNP project staff across Ontario have increased awareness of and engagement with network resources, zone meetings, communities of practice, webinars, newsletters, participating on web connects. We try to get the message out there as much as we can and information out to our different projects. Objective 4, Capsi and CPNP project staff across Canada have increased sense of identity and understanding of the purpose and key messages of Capsi and CPNP. Three program priority areas have been identified by the network members. Of course, health promotion.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This
That's okay. It's keeping it interesting.
my navigating isn't working very well. My apologies. Back to you, Debbie.
It's all good, Sydney. Health promotions. That's for health of the unborn child, babies, children up to 0 to 6, older siblings, parents, grandparents. It's the whole family. Parenting, I call it enhanced parenting. We have positive parenting here. Parents do the best they can with what they have, and we just help to enhance what they have and possibly sway them to do things in a little bit of a different manner. Reducing barriers for access. These priority areas reflect programming focus that is common in projects all across the province. And one other thing that's not on here that I'm going to throw in there is the flexibility of the Capsi and CPNP people, workers, to achieve their objectives and the different roles. As we've seen in the last few years with the COVID and whatever, we had to do a complete switch to programming and the way that we support our participants. And Hey, we came out the other side and we're all in one piece. Objective number 4. Capsi and Cpnp project staff across Ontario have an increased sense of whoa. I think I've read this already.
I think so. You went
It's
through
on there
the
twice.
objectives and the priorities. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're moving on to Kim now, if I'm correct.
I think so. She's going to take us through some network highlights.
I introduce you to Kim.
Hi, everyone. I get to talk about our highlights in 2021 and 22. To support the Truth and Reconciliation Work Plan goals, the network engaged members with a survey in the late spring of 2021. We had 43 respondents, and out of that, we had two main messages emerged. First off, there is an interest in learning more. And secondly, members are looking to the network/coordinating committee for leadership. So in response, the network engaged in 2 initiatives. First, an Indigenous learning circle was added to our learning circle roster. And secondly, a Truth and Reconciliation discussion guide was produced. So this discussion guide, it supports our members in accessing spaces and places to learn about Indigenous teachings and issues, as well as engage in truth and reconciliation. And for easy access, a link to the guide, which is on a Trello board, can be found also in the weekly newsletter. Next, another one of our highlights, of course, is the annual conference. And this year, the theme was resiliency, adapting, learning, and growing. It was held in February the 23rd and 24th. And this was the 3rd, we're calling it the annual online conference. And this yearly gathering, it's increasingly seen as a space for virtual connection and fostering a sense of community among network members. As well, the Indigenous Project Sharing Circle took place on February 22nd, the day before the conference, and it has become a traditional precursor to the annual conference. So I know this slide, it's quite busy, but it just kind of showcases some of the amazing speakers that we had this year. And, you know, we had discussions. I mean, I learned about a technique called tapping, you know, so it's just a way to quickly lower your stress and feel more equipped to navigate everyday life. I'd never heard of it before. And we heard from Nathan. He was talking about Indigenous early stage teachings, and he shared with us some of the rites of passage ceremonies and teachings. It was pretty interesting. We had a reorientation to the mother's mental health toolkit, and for some of us it was an orientation to that, and others it was a reorientation. There was so much. Anyways, that was a wonderful conference. And next slide here, we have this also, you know, time during the annual conference was dedicated to a service celebration. So as a network, we felt it was important to recognize and celebrate the dedication of the people who every day are supporting vulnerable families. So members shared their years of service and stories of what inspired them to keep working in the Capsi and Cpnp projects. And the program leads, and he held the and recorded discussion with a few long-term network members, and that was also shared during the conference. And this was created above the slide on a Trello board. And I mean, I don't know if you can see, but in the bottom corner, you know, we have Marilyn from Wawa with 33 years, and Lee Gibson from Connections with 25, and all the way over to the right, we have people, Lisa, 6 months, and Maureen McMillan, 3.5 years. You know, it was really nice to see all of those years of service, or months. And our next slide, this was another highlight for us, the 2021 National Child Day campaign. The network provided a 5-day social media campaign for National Child Day in both English and French. And that takes us to you, Sydney, the coordinating committee.
Oh, here I am. Thanks, Kim. I'd like to acknowledge Debbie and Kim offer their time and service as co-chairs on our coordinating committee, and are, as part of that, we're all presenting today. And so I'm really happy to, take some time and talk about the coordinating committee, which is a really great group of folks who are just so committed to, the work of Capsi and Cpnp in their communities and region and province, that they dedicate some of their very busy time to coming together and supporting the network, who then we support the projects in doing this important work. So the coordinating committee has up to 3 representatives from each of the 5 regional areas across Ontario. Again, that's Northwest, Northeast, Central, Eastern, and Southwestern. We get together along with myself as the project lead, a paid staff, and representatives from Public Health Agency of Canada and the sponsoring agency, Horizon Family Services, Family and Community Services. We get together to meet, plan, and review, coordinate initiatives to support knowledge exchange and community building goals of the network. And just been busy this past couple of years developing some resources that we're starting to move out to everybody, including an onboarding manual to help Capsi and Cpnp project staff become aware of the network and the resources that are there. Truth and Reconciliation discussion guide. We've launched a mapping project, and we have this year, which you'll be learning more about in upcoming months, a special evaluation project that launched in, April 2022. That is really set to highlight the adaptability and responsiveness of our programs in communities, especially as Debbie mentioned, as we've navigated the pandemic. The coordinating committee has 4 subcommittees that each align with our 4 work plan objectives. So we, in addition to coming to regular meetings, coordinating committee members gather either to work on the identity work or network engagement, truth and reconciliation, or information access. Okay. No, I'm not going forward here. What's going on? All right. Here's one of the projects that I mentioned, our Truth and Reconciliation discussion guide. And so this is just a screenshot of the Trello board that it is located on. And this is, we're really seeing this as a growing and evolving project that we're hoping, our intention is will be helpful to network members in feeling informed and inspired to engage in discussions about truth and reconciliation. This screen just gives you an idea of just the variety of types of activities that we engage in the network. We have our learning circles. We are often hosting online events, whether it's part of our sort of regular webinar series or other special online events. We have the weekly newsletter, and also on our the online space of Web Connects, which has been going through a revamping this year. Let's see, what else do we have? As I mentioned, our province is divided into 5 zones. Ontario is a rather large province, so it's really helpful to have spaces where people can connect with folks who live and work relatively near to them. So we each of these zones host regular gatherings, which are, I think, now all virtual, which isn't a surprise to anybody. And they are hosted by volunteer zone chairs who are very dedicated persons, holding space for us to come together in each of our zones. In the East Zone, we have Dawn and Maureen. In the Northeast Zone, Rachel and Debbie. In the Northwest Zone, actually, I didn't update the slide. So Yvette retired and Rhonda Turbide is holding space in the Northwest Zone. Yvette in the Central Zone, and Ellen and Lori in the Southwest. So if you aren't already familiar with these gatherings, feel free to check them out. There's always information in the newsletter. You can always reach out to me and I'd be happy to connect you with the zone that you are in and get you attending a zone meeting. These are really helpful gatherings. Our Public Health Agency of Canada has representatives at these gatherings who provide updates. So there's always lots of opportunity to hear what's going on and to connect with colleagues. We also host regular learning circles in these 4 topic areas: positive parenting and child development, social media and technology, Indigenous teachings, and mental health. And these are less formal than, say, a webinar. It's not so much a presentation. It's more of a gathering together and sharing resources and learning together. And again, information about accessing these can be found in the newsletter or by sending me an email, and I'm happy to let you know. Here's a sample of some of the network discussions, webinars, and tutorials that were held in the last year. There were a total of 11 of these kinds of events held, and with a total of 328 people participating. We have one of these graphics says Network COVID Program Discussion. And these are discussions that we've been holding regularly, I would say about quarterly over the last couple of years to support Capsi and Cpnp projects to come together and just share information and brainstorm and support one another. And how do we navigate offering programming during a pandemic? And we've been hearing from members that these are really helpful gatherings. But we've also offered a variety of webinars and every once in a while some sort of tutorials to support network members in exploring maybe some online tools that might help them sort of navigate this more virtual world that we're in. Other special events. We've held a total of 9 special events over the last year, and we had 581 participants. And again, here's just a sampling of images promoting those events. We had, in partnership with Public Health Agency of Canada Regional Office, we held a National Child Day celebration last November. We had a graphic recording facilitation workshop, which was quite interesting, and a network event supporting and celebrating dads last June. And this presentation on Anishinaabeg child rearing experiences with Miranda Lesperance, which was quite informative and people really enjoyed. But again, that was just that's not a comprehensive list. It just holds such a variety of events over the year that we hope are beneficial to our members. Finally, our weekly newsletter. or almost weekly newsletter that goes out, and it's just a place for folks to find out about upcoming events in the network, to share information and resources and articles of interest. And currently we have 319 subscribers. And in the last fiscal year, we sent out 70 blasts or 70 campaigns. So that's a really quick overview of our the work of our coordinating committee and some of our activities. And now I think we're going to call on Kim again, right, to talk about our evaluation activities.
Yes, that's right. Oh, am I muted?
No, I hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, evaluation, network evaluation. So the coordinating committee continues to partner with the Center for Community-Based Research. They're based out of the University of Waterloo in further development of our network evaluation framework. And we're using a community-based approach. So the purpose of the evaluation is to provide an opportunity for the coordinating committee to reflect on the work that we do in order to develop and strengthen the network over a 4-year period. So the Center for Community-Based Research is supporting this evaluation, and this year's cycle had started on April 1st, 21, and ended in and around March 31st, 2022. So the core evaluation will assess what the network does, so process evaluation, the impacts and value added of the network activities, so outcome evaluation, and ways in which the network can improve, so future directions. And as you see on this slide here, we gathered information through a couple of surveys and a couple of focus groups, and we had a number of participant responses. And I just wanted to mention here that all of the responses, the coordinating committee really takes an in-depth look at all of the information that comes in, and it really, really helps to guide future directions for us. And so next, on one of the surveys, we asked the question, what is the most notable change in your practice or your organization as a result of your involvement with the network? And people had a lot to say. In the next slide, we see here, you know, they had a lot to say about the change in their practice and how the network had influenced that. So there are a sample of comments here on this slide, and also in the blue circles there was 5 notable changes or themes that emerged from that. And first off, father involvement. The network helped to connect projects to resources and training opportunities around father involvement. Professional development projects noted that they really appreciated the many PD opportunities that were offered throughout the year. And navigating COVID. Oh, that was a big one. People felt that the COVID discussions, as Sydney had mentioned earlier, were very helpful, especially hearing that what other projects were doing. The sharing of ideas was extremely supportive. Learning from each other through learning circles, zone meetings, the network newsletter. People felt that the network activities helped to guide and connect them. And equity, diversity, and inclusion. The network helped projects to increase awareness and engagement around Indigenous concerns and challenges. As well, it helped to increase capacity to provide equitable and culturally appropriate services to reduce barriers and increase comfort level and build trusting relationships. Another question that was asked was, how could the network better support you in the coming year? And out of the surveys, what we heard back, there were 3 main themes that stood out as a response to this question. And the first one, network members asked for help to support families struggling with mental health issues as a result of the pandemic and the economic insecurity that is impacting so many right now, the rising living costs, gas and groceries, housing costs, etc. And secondly, there were many that encouraged the coordinating committee to continue to offer spaces for connection and learning. Members asked us to continue to support them by providing training opportunities, network discussions, learning circles, etc. And lastly, there were a lot of concerns and need for support around evaluation. That was a hot button. Network members expressed the need for tools to identify outcomes and data that would help them to inform evaluation, and ask for a common database came up a few times as well. And I think that's on to final thoughts.
Thank you, Kim. I'll ask Debbie Lovelace is going to join me here again for this.
I'm here.
Yeah. Was there, we have that reflective exercise that we were going to share a little bit of, but was there anything else you wanted to add here, Debbie?
No, not really. I think I like that exercise would be good to get to.
Okay, let me just jigger things around here a little bit.
Well, as Sydney's jiggling things around there a little bit, I'll just remind you that June is coming up and June is Indigenous Peoples Month. So check out some Indigenous people stuff. Be interesting to learn more about the culture.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a good reminder, Debbie. And we just wanted to give you a bit of a glimpse. We're not going to go through this in depth, but as part of our annual meeting this year, the coordinating committee engaged in this, like just yesterday, this reflective exercise that uses the metaphor of a sailboat and asks us to consider 4 things, like what is the wind in our sails? What is motivating us and moving us forward? What is anchoring us or holding us back? What are the beacons on the horizon? What do we have to inspire us and to look forward to? And then finally, what are the barriers that we see ahead? And so we just thought that, especially around, around this anchors that are holding us back, like what are our challenges right now? And we just thought it wouldn't, hurt to mention this a little bit as we gather together with our representatives from Public Health Agency of Canada and our network members, and just acknowledging that the ongoing struggle, certainly of funding. It's we're all very, very aware of that for sure, and the challenges of lack of time to do what we need to do. And I think the big one that really kind of jumped out at us yesterday, in terms of just always important to highlight, is the challenge that we sometimes or we consistently face around identity, and perhaps feeling that we sometimes feel like we get maybe swallowed up or unseen when it comes to other programs such as early on that we often sort of get lumped in. So I don't know if other coordinating committee members wanted to add anything to this, but just as when we were doing this exercise, we thought it would be a good reflection. But I think ending on a positive note, that, you know, we have such passion and such commitment throughout Ontario and in Capsi and Cpnp projects, that and so many opportunities for connection and learning together, that we are feeling positive, despite sort of uncertainties that are perhaps coming up in the next couple of years. But knowing that, you know, we have a lot to offer, and we are, you know, bring so much to our communities, that there's much to celebrate and much to keep us committed in the work that we're doing. Okay, I think that's all the speechifying I have left in me. So I think again, Kim or Debbie, any final words from either of you?
There's never, one thing about the coordinating committee and what we're doing, there's never a dull moment. Always something to do and new avenues to go down. Because if you want, you know, we could go into FASD, we could go into autism, you know, more depth into the Indigenous culture, which we are going into. But it all takes time, which takes manpower or woman power, sorry, and money. And so we have to kind of not spread ourselves too thin, because we want to do justice to all avenues that we are taking, but we do want to learn and assist the people who come through our doors. And unfortunately, FASD and autism are big ones that are coming through my doors anyway. So I don't think I'm unique, but we're not that unique to what the situation that other projects are doing. One big one that we have been working on is programming with dads. For years, dads had kind of got forgotten. Moms, you know, the old adage, moms raised the babies. Well, dads are raising babies now too. So in some areas, some communities, it's harder to get men engaged in to come to the Capsi projects, because they believe that, or maybe they feel that it's just a woman's knitting and tea circle. They can sit there and gossip and gab. Well, a few of the men that I have known that have come that are now single parent family dads, after the first couple of times, they're just one of the girls. And they have a great time, and they come and they promote it to their friends. So that's my little rant. Anything you would need to say, Kim?
I just want to put a plug in, unless Sydney, you're planning on doing this for the coordinating committee and all of our empty vacant positions that are coming up. Yeah, as Debbie said, it's a pretty exciting place to be. I've learned a lot in this role, and just being part of the committee, it's enlightening, and it's you feel like you're doing some really good work. So we need some new members, so please share throughout your areas, and hopefully we can fill those positions in not too long. And I think in June, I can't remember the date of our next meeting though.
That's right. And of course, I apologize. There's suddenly a whole bunch of noise happening outside here. But yes, absolutely. We really would encourage those of you who are here and have shown, you know, interest in the work that we do, to consider putting your name forward and participating on the coordinating committee. And I can see somebody actually asked that question here on the board. And what you would just need to do is reach out to your zone chair or to myself, and we can let you know what the commitments are and that kind of thing. But as you can see, there's a real sense of community in this group, and the work that we engage in, there's a real sense of meaning and importance in it. So I think there's benefit to be had, as well as benefit to be offered. And we will be hosting a open our next coordinating committee is on June 23rd, before we go into our summer break. And we're opening that up to anybody who might be interested. If you kind of thought, oh, I might want to participate on the coordinating committee, but I'm just not sure. Well, we invite you to come hang out with us on June 23rd and get an idea of what it's like to be involved in that group. So again, reach out to your rep from your zone, or zone chair, or myself, and we can get you involved. And I will say that the slide deck will be available. That question was also asked, and we're also recording this session, and that will be available too. So again, I think we are closing in on our time here. If anybody else has a question or a comment, or if Tim or Alana have anything they would like to share, you are very welcome.
Hi, sorry, I'm having issues with the dial-in, but I was able to hear most, if not all, of the presentation, and it was such a breath of fresh air to come back into the sphere and see how well this group has continued to deliver, collaborate, partner, and reach out and support those most vulnerable during an additionally precarious time. So it's wonderful. I will share with my colleagues, and thank you for having me and rearranging the schedule.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining. Tim,
and I think it would be great to, as you're saying, Cindy, to share that deck just so Alana, Henry, other folks in senior management can see it. Like, it's great to see all the slides and to see everyone and to hear sort of a summary of what's gone on in the last year. But yeah, I mean, so incredibly connected, all of, the folks on the call, but all of the projects in the province in helping support the most vulnerable. And, neat to see, as Debbie's mentioning, the Indigenous lens on things. Like, I wish we could look at 7 generations down the road, have some vision, and make things truly better for our world and its people. And actually even just seeing the what do you call it, the conference, the virtual conference, and remembering Miranda and all the other folks that presented there. Like, even though it was virtual, that was amazing. And I think all of you, in reading your reporting tools now, because we're all looking at them right now, and it's incredible the amount of work that's gone on in the last 2 years, 2.5 years, responding to the pandemic and changing the way you deliver programming, and the porch drop-offs on the one-on-one support and support for each other, and then trying to reopen, and how do you do it? Like, it's truly incredible what's gone on by everybody on the call and by the larger group. And I know it's probably on everybody's mind, and we will, Blanca and myself, Alana, will continue to provide updates on Renewal. I haven't heard much about it, but I think everybody knows the projects end in 2024. So how that renewal happens, we will, and we've told Ottawa the community does need to be involved in that process, and I'm sure you will be, just to look at the best way forward. We have done some changes in Aboriginal Head Start, and some of that may inform Capsi Cpnp work as well. But one word that comes out a lot is modernization, which I think, simply put, what seems to be meant by that is making things better and easier, which in one case, Capsi and Cpnp is reporting in the spring rather than having the reporting tool, and then CPPMT next year. I think everybody knows, but that will be a combined tool, larger, but then more comprehensive. Anyway, so there's lots of exciting stuff to come, but I appreciate all the work that's been done by the committee, but by the individual projects as well. And yes, we do recognize, and we do regularly speak up, that money is a problem. The lack of increase, the rust out funding. Even when Alana first joined our team about 3 years ago, we wrote a paper together as a team of consultants and managers that we sent up to Ottawa and just said, hey, here's where things are at. And with inflation being 8%, right now. I mean, not only does that affect all the people that we all serve, it also affects individual projects and their ability to deliver programming. So as Debbie would say, I think that's my rant.
Thank you, Tim. And well, I think that brings us to the end of our time together. So I want to again express appreciation to all of you for taking time to join in and hear about our activities over the past year. And we look forward to this next year, working all together in doing the work that we do. And again, we really encourage you to consider participating in a learning circle or coming to one of our events, and really urge you to consider, if you have an inclination or an interest, to put your name forward in your zone. We could really use your insight in supporting the moving the work forward. And I think with that, I will wish you all a wonderful rest of the day, and hopefully our paths cross again soon. So thank you very much, and take care.
Miigwech, miigwech, miigwech.
Witch, miigwech.
Good. Thanks, everybody.
Live
Bye,
long and
everyone.
prosper.
Live long and prosper. Absolutely.